My name is Sophia Herzog. I am 23 years old, Paralympic silver medalist in swimming in the 100 breaststroke, currently training for the Tokyo 2021 Games next year.
Okay. Now, I guess the first question about that is, you didn't say 2020. So how does that affect your training any at all?
It did and it still kind of does. Obviously, in March, all the pools shut down, and I was without a pool for closer to 3 months. So in that aspect, it was really good that the games were postponed because myself and everybody else in the country
Right.
were not training the way we needed to be training as swimmers. And now I got back in the water, I believe, around end of May, beginning of June, and I had to pretty much start from scratch again, um, do a huge build, and now I'm finally back into shape, and it's just, I have a whole nother year about this, so it's just really keeping healthy through this year and gaining a whole nother year of training, which is I'm excited for. I wasn't super excited in March for it,
Right.
but looking at it now, it'll be good.
Okay. Now, you said you were 3 months without being in the pool. In your recollection, had you ever when's the last time you went 3 months without being in the pool?
Um,
Or 3 weeks?
yeah, actually, after Rio, I probably didn't swim right around 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
I think I did swim like every once in a while for 20 minutes. The pool was always there and it was offered to me. Whereas here, like, there was no options
Okay.
to swim.
Okay. So how did you get started? Were you always around the water, or you just kind of went, hey, this is something I can do?
Yeah, I grew up in a really competitive family. My father's a long distance runner, and my mom is a mountain biker. And I'm also the only dwarf in my family as well. So kind of I was a big skier growing up, pretty competitive. They don't have skiing offered for dwarfs yet in Paralympics. And I was running into some knee issues that were gonna ultimately not let me go far in it. And I was bullied pretty hard through high school and middle school as well. So my parents really put a focus in on academics and sports. So in middle school, I actually started swimming on a club team. There was like 5 girls. We didn't do a ton of swimming, but it was just a really fun
Right.
social that really sparked the love, and that was probably still to this day one of my favorite teams I've ever been on. And then in high school, it was kind of the turning point of I could be really good at this and I could go to the games, or this could just be, ordinary. So I ended up graduating high school a year early, so I squeezed high school into 3 years instead of four. Um, the coach at the time at the Olympic Training Center said he'd save me a bed if I was able to do that. So I did that and I moved to the Olympic Training Center at 17 in 2014, and I stayed there for till 2018.
Okay. Now, when I gave you my background, we started, I didn't get this in because it's rarely that I actually do. I'm an old athletic director from a high school
Oh,
and junior
cool.
high. And then we had a junior high swim team, which my
Wow.
first year's as my first year's athletic director, I didn't even know that. They said, well, we need to put the schedule together for the junior high swim team. I said, we need to do what?
Yeah,
And
I've actually
yeah,
never heard of
yeah,
a junior high
yeah, we had a junior high
swim
swim team.
team either.
So they
That's
said,
pretty
okay.
cool.
So I said, so who's our coach? I'm like, uh, I don't think we have a coach. Well, how can we have a team without a coach? And what we did was we had our high school coaches be the coaches, but they couldn't fit it all in that year. So me, the expert that I am, became the junior high swim coach. And
Wow,
I
that's
know
pretty cool.
nothing about swimming at all. But what I found, the point of this is what I found, just what you said, is that the swim fraternity, for the most part, are focused on having a good time, and you're trying to beat your personal best. You're not necessarily all the time swimming against other people. You're swimming against time. So people are cheering you on and people are helping you out. And the thing that I was amazed with where people are yelling at people while they're in the pool that couldn't hear them. I thought that was really cool. But
Yeah.
it's the fun aspect of it. So I can understand where you say that was you, even though the rest of school may not have been too cool, being in the pool, being around those people, they seem to draw the best out of you and make you a better friend, better community person, whatever you want to say. So I
Yeah, and
thought that was pretty cool.
I swam for a different school because my school was really small and it didn't have a swim team, so it was just nice to be around girls that, I wasn't around all day.
Right.
I think also being five girls, that eliminates a lot of
Yeah.
drama, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
We all like really loved each other.
Yeah, and well, I should say our junior high swim team had 4 kids on it, so it wasn't like it was 85 kids swimming around, but it was still pretty cool. So, so when you make that decision, I'm going to forego my final year of high school, which I think a lot of us might not have had a problem with that either, to go do something. You've already said this is what I want to do. When you make that focus and that determination, how hard is that to do?
Um, it was challenging in the fact of not really knowing what to do. It was
Right.
my first run through it. And I was pretty young, so I had a lot of people telling me what to do and how to do it. Luckily, they were pretty smart in that field, so I was being guided in the right way. Um, but I was 17 years old and I was really young and hungry for this, and I realized that I needed to get out of high school and be training full time um, to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. And then once I moved to the training center, it became actually fairly easy because everybody there is doing that. Everybody's chasing that goal. There's no outside distractions. Everything's taken care of for us. I just was 17 and I had a bit of growing up to do.
Yeah, right. So, and you also had to leave. You mentioned, parents and siblings. How tough is that to say, thanks, I'm out of here.
The training center was only about an hour and a half from
Oh,
my
okay.
home. So it wasn't like a huge, big deal
Okay.
in that aspect.
Okay. So now you're there and you're working at it full time at 17 years old. I had a part-time job at 17 and I still didn't feel like showing up half the time. When you decide that you've done that, now you're in it. Now, what are the goals? Are you thinking I can win gold, or are you just thinking I'm going to be very good at this, or you're still kind of in the process?
Yeah, I think at the beginning I still wasn't making like national teams. So it was kind of just like, let's hope I gain a spot on the team.
Right.
Like let's just hope I have a good day at trials. And then I would say end of 2015, beginning of 2016, I was performing really well. I think I physically matured. I grew some muscle mass, and I was swimming times that were putting me pretty high up in the rankings. Um, so it was kind of like, okay, you're going to be on the team. Let's see where you're going to final. And then at trials, I swam a time that put me third in the world. Um, and our trials was pretty late, so it was kind of like um, I was in a good position. People didn't know who I was
Right.
internationally. Um, the game changed for me there.
Yeah. Okay. So when you get to that point where you say, I've made the team, I'm going to the Olympics, but when does it hit you? I'm in the Olympics.
It was really interesting because I swam the time that put me third in the world, so I essentially automatically, unofficially qualified.
Right.
Um, and then the next day they officially announced the team in a big meeting. So that's kind of where it hit me. But living at the training center, they kind of prep you.
Right.
Like they're not going to be taking in athletes that are not
Right.
making the team.
Right.
Obviously, people have, you know, bad days when they need to be having good days. Um, So I think just hearing my name when they announced it and doing the big announcement in Charlotte, that's, you know, things changed.
So now you know, okay, I'm going to be an Olympian. I have a chance to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
Does that, again, you've already swam the third fastest time in the world. I've had a chance to talk to some people that have set world records and whatnot, and it's something that you know you can do, at least from the people I've talked to. But when you actually do it, when you have the third
Yeah.
fastest time in the world, do you go home and go back to your room and walk around and go, did I just do that?
It's really interesting. Because I was swimming fast enough where we call it tapering in swimming. So you rest up so you
Mm-hmm.
can swim your fastest. And I didn't taper for trials since our trials was pretty late. And I swam that time kind of beaten down, like my body was beaten down. So I was really excited to see what I could do. The Paralympics, there's some politics that are coming up with classifications and misclassifications.
Right.
And I have some issues, I guess we'll call it, in my classification with those girls. But I knew I was in a really good contention for a medal. We swam our prelims, so they take the top 8 fastest in the morning to take to finals. And I swam a time that put me third in the world again. And that was a really good lane position because then I was next to the girl that was first. Um, and finals come around that night, and I was first to the wall for the 50 split. And then I kind of lost it coming home. I think I had like a 5-second difference in my split, which is not good in swimming.
Not good, right?
Um, and I remember looking at the board and seeing my name with the flag in second place, and I just started crying because like seeing it, black and white, it's another ball game.
Yeah.
It's you know you can do it, but once it's official and you see it on paper or on the board, it's special.
And now you're walking around like, did they just give me a medal for this?
I think I probably slept for like probably 72 hours after. Like just the emotional whirlwind of it was like something I've never experienced.
Now you got to come back from that or do something else from that because, at that point, you're still a relatively young person and you've achieved or gotten close to the pinnacle of what you can do.
Yep.
What do you do now? I mean, is it like, okay, I'm going to, like you said, you took some time off, but is it, I really think I can do better, or is it, this is just what I do?
I think personally more for me it's my competition has changed quite a bit now. The 2 girls that were on the podium with me, one retired and one was classed up. So it'll be a different podium next year. So for me personally, I just want to go see what my body can be pushed to a best time, an American record. Ultimately, that's the goal, is to get back on the podium, and that's what I'm fighting for. So how it's going to shake up, I don't quite know yet, but that's what the goal is.
Okay, so now that you have come up to that realization, are there days, because I've already had this level, are there days, as you said, we couldn't be in the pool for 3 months. Are there days where you say, I'm not sure this is worth it, or is it just, this is what I'm going to do?
I think it's actually, I felt like that in 2018. I felt there's a lot of external pressures on me. People expect, you know, a top elite level performance every time I get onto the
Right,
block. And I'm not a robot. I'm not going to be
right.
able to, perform every time. Um, 2019 Worlds was probably one of the worst meets of my life. And I decided to switch coaches and move. And I started training with a lady named Wendy Gorey. And I haven't I've had about 2 races under her since I've been with her for the past 8 months, I think. And I broke a world record and 3 American records. And I think there's a little bit of fear in me of not to disappoint her. You know,
Right.
I'm swimming to make me proud ultimately, but she's invested so much in me that I don't want to let her down.
Disappoint, right? Yeah, I understand. I understand.
But it's also me because this is my last go around. I'm gonna retire after the games. Um, I'm never gonna be able to do this ever again.
Right.
So
Right.
just leave it all out every
Leave it
day.
all. Okay. Now, this I asked of a few people, and I get different answers for different reasons. When you set a world record, that race, did you think, I think I can set a world record this race?
Yep.
Okay.
It was previously my world record, and I knew I could be faster in it. But it was the mile, and shaved like 3 minutes off my time. Like I was
Wow.
swimming my brains out for like 23 minutes, and I didn't think I was going to be able to go that fast, but I had a feeling I could get it.
So you saved 3 minutes off of your personal best
Yeah, in the mile though.
in the
So
mile.
my time's a 23-minute. So it's a little different. You know, that's a lot of time to be
Right.
swimming.
But still, that's pretty impressive. So now you're the world record holder again. Do you walk around? Does it ever hit you like, I've done this better than anyone has ever done it before?
Not totally. It's
Okay.
always like a fight for, you know, someone there's a little girl training somewhere to try and rip
Okay.
that apart, and you can never be comfortable.
But is there any satisfaction in that of, hey, I've done something pretty impressive? Someone else may come
Um,
along and get it at some point, but
yeah, I think the satisfaction's just that day, you know, what you did, and then next morning you got to wake up and start training again.
okay, I'll get off of this in a second. But maybe it's the question is it more, is it better for you that you set a personal best, not necessarily a world record?
Um, I think so. I think
Okay.
just there was a point in my career, probably for 3 years, that I didn't go any personal bests. So being able to start going personal bests again is a huge confidence builder.
Well, because one of the things I've come across with a lot of people that are in an individual sport is that as long as you do the best that you can do, you want to beat everybody else and everyone else's times, but you can only go as fast as you can go. You can only go as quickly as you can go. You can only shoot a certain score on a golf course, what you can do. So if that happens to be better than everybody else, that's great. If it's not, you're still competing against yourself.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I think that contentment takes a while if you do go a personal best and it's not what you were expecting. Or,
Right.
like 4 other people break that world record and you broke it too, but they were quicker. There's
Right.
still not, it takes a while to be content with that swim.
Okay. So now we have this next goal ahead of us. And unfortunately, it's been postponed for a year. When you're training now and you're looking at where you're going to be, hopefully in a year, which I'm going to assume is the end of that, are you saying this is the last run and this is what I want to do and I'm going to make sure it's all as perfect as possible? Or is it just, I'm going to enjoy the ride?
More as perfect as possible than
Okay.
enjoying the ride, I guess.
Yeah. And you can enjoy the ride afterwards, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what do you, with the new coach and everything, what do you do that you feel is different or improved, or what tweaks do you think you've made or that you needed to make maybe?
I think what I needed to make was just to change my environment.
Okay.
Um, I wasn't super happy I wasn't enjoying training. I wasn't going best time, so I was losing a lot of confidence in myself and my swimming. So that was the major push to switch. Um, so I've started gaining my confidence back in my swimming. She's a different type of coach, so my sets are a lot different and they're more power based, which I need, which, my body was getting used to that old training routine. And now my body's struggling, to adapt to this new
Right.
training routine. Um, and just being happy swimming and going to the pool and, getting my confidence back up in swimming was my major thing.
Well, you mentioned something I think is very important that people that don't perform on the level you're performing on understand. How can you be a world record holder and not be confident?
I think when you're not performing the way you can perform and people expect you to perform, you kind of lose that confidence. Like I would get on the block and question if I could swim 100 meters, all out, where I'm swimming like 5,000 meters in practice.
Right.
Like obviously, Sophia, you're going to be able to make it down and back. um, so just that, questioning why you're not going fast and people questioning it too creates a lot of doubt in swimming.
So there is insecurity in someone that performs well.
Yeah, because I think I performed, a silver medal time. People are watching me now and people expect that again. Um, no one knew who I was going into Rio. And now, people are,
You've got the target on you, yeah.
yeah, there's a target and people are watching my moves. And so there's a lot more stress than I was planning on, I guess. I never
Well,
thought
it's
about it.
yeah, it's something I get when this basketball player, he's shooting the ball with confidence. Well, he does it every day. Why wouldn't he have confidence in this particular shot? Or their pitcher's throwing the ball with confidence, or they're skiing with confidence, and they're making sure that I hear it often enough to know that it has something to do with what you do. But if you're not on that level, it's hard for us to understand that. I'm
Yeah.
glad you're able to put that into some perspective.
Yeah.
When you get that confidence, how do you guard from overconfidence?
Um, I don't know. I think I've never personally been overconfident. I've always been fighting for the first spot.
Okay.
I've never comfortably sat there.
Okay. All right. So now we're at unfortunately, the end of the road. And I know that's still a ways to go, but what have you done or what are you doing to say, now when I decide it's time to make that change, what changes can you make? Or is it I'm still going to be in the pool, but I'm not going to compete? How does that work in your head, or have you got that far yet?
Like once I retire after Tokyo next year,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it'll just be time for me to move on. Um, I sacrificed the past 12 years to this hyper focus thing. I missed out on a normal college experience. I did college online. I've never really had a job. Um,
You ain't
so
missing much, so don't worry about that.
yeah, but I think it'll be time to not grow up, but move on. Because I mean, there's going to be a point where my body can't do this the way I want it.
Right.
And I don't want to get to that point where I'm swimming and my body's not able to do what I want it to do, and I'm getting frustrated and my body's not performing. I
Okay.
want to end on a high note.
On a high note. Okay. Okay. Now, this is going to sound weird to ask this question because, as you said, the hyper focused thing. What's the most fun thing you've had happen throughout your swimming career?
Oh, fun Oh goodness, I've had a ton of fun things. I've been a really lucky person, to do what I've done. Um, I traveled the world, and if a swim meet is at a really cool place, I usually stay after and vacation. Um, I met my life partner through athletics,
Cool.
so probably those two things,
Okay.
just
All right.
traveling and
Well, and that's something that, again, if you're not involved in it, we always wonder, okay, the Rio Olympics, how much of Rio do you see? Or if you're going to a meet someplace else, do you get to see the city and sample the life there and
yeah.
that kind of thing?
I actually didn't get to see any of Rio. Swimming is all 10 days of the games, and I was down in Rio probably 3 weeks, and by the time the games were done, I wanted to go home.
Yeah.
Um, but like we went to Australia in 2018, and I stayed a month after and vacationed. It really just depends where the meet is, what time of year the meet is in the season, um, for all those things to come together.
Cool. Okay. Well, I thank you for being on. I thank you for taking the time out of your day. It's always to me, and as I've mentioned off there, to me it's a thrill to talk to people who have dedicated themselves to something and are seeing the fruition of that. So, like I said, I appreciate the information and the definition of confidence. I think that that's something I've been trying to get someone to explain to me, and I really appreciate you putting it in perspective that way. So thank you for your time, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you so much.
All right.